What is it? What is it, guys? It's a series on our hands, physically. It is here with us, 1-1 on the scoreboard.
Hold
Immortals
on,
Academy
hold on. You did this bit all wrong. You did this bit all wrong.
Is he gonna draw? He's gonna draw a series on one of his palms. All right, well, he does that. Let's talk about it.
You're right.
Because Immortals Academy coming back.
Hand.
There we go. That's what we're talking about, everybody. They will not go down without a fight. We built up the legacy and the expectations of this team, this roster, at least most of the roster from last split. And they're starting to deliver here. So let's talk a little bit about how they did that before we get into our game. Because it felt like a lot of things were stepping up, but the biggest part got to be Arrow. I mean, when we look at the individual performers beatdown, that's immediately where my eyes go.
I think I agree with you. Overall, I think Arrow had a really good game on a champion that he's very comfortable and loves playing. I mean, him being able to perform, I think, mattered in these team fights. And I think overall, Immortals Progressive played that game pretty well. The thing I said on the cast, and something that happens often against 100 Next, is that you give them openings in games where they're down, they come back. The thing is, Immortals did not give them a single opening. There were very few opportunities for 100 Next to even fight. And all that waiting for these crucial spikes to come through for people like Darkwings, for people like Lens, it ended up being for nothing because the whole game was under the control of Immortals.
It felt like we might have gotten a little bit of impatience at times from 100 Thieves Next, where nothing was happening, and there were moments where I was like, it doesn't feel like they're comfortable with nothing happening. There was even a moment where somebody, I don't remember which of you said it during the game, but it was like, this is not a traditional Immortals game. It's very slow. Do we think they can handle it? I think they handled it great. I think it was 100 Thieves Next that got a little antsy at sometimes.
Definitely, and it's been kind of an issue they've faced at Proving Grounds on the side of 100 Next when it comes to the impatience, the nerves. It even, I think, in my opinion, it even plagued them during the PGCQ 2 finals in summer against Taco Gaming, where in that Game 5 scenario, they had, I mean, when it comes to the draft, things, I don't remember it perfectly, but I remember things being pretty even. But the problem was the gameplay from 100 Next, it just was not there. They were playing scared. The nerves clearly overtook them. And that could be what we're starting to see here. Mist wanted to see his players overcome their nerves when it comes to these big matches. And now it seems like they couldn't do it in Game 2, but Game 3 is their chance again.
Well, that is how the cookie crumbled for game number 2, 1-1 on the scoreboard now as we get prepared for pick and ban of game number 3. And while we wait for that to happen, everybody, we are going to play a little game that I like to call Recall, where we go over a shoutcast, a moment, something that was said by either of these two shoutcasters during that last game that, in my opinion, summarized the game. I might have spoiled some of it, as we did already talk about the game slightly, but let's get into it right now. So, the way this works is you have 4 strikes.
Okay.
If you strike out 4 times, you lose the game.
Okay.
But guess letters.
That's not how baseball works at all.
To see if you can guess the phrase that I picked out to summarize all of game number 2. Now, this is a collaborative game, so the two of you can work together.
What about a T? Can we go with a T?
We want to go for a T to kick things off.
Yeah.
Well, Magical, I'm so happy that you chose T because
that
is not correct. That is already a strike on the board.
I'm going to say A.
You're going for A. Okay. All right, see, this is how you play a game. Magical vowels. That is the smart way to approach this. You got to go with strategy with
Can I guess another letter?
Go for it.
Sure.
Oh, actually...
All right, I'm going to go with S, so...
Okay, yeah, let's do S.
You want to go with an S? Well, Magical, I'm so happy you said that.
Because
there is actually an S.
Oh,
there is one this time.
So, we could go with an I, because we know that's going to be is.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Yeah, no, just
all right. I'll give it to you. I'm not gonna mess with it. But see, the problem is that gave you 2 eyes.
Right. That's kind of why I was taking it, just in case there was more eyes.
Okay. Okay. You got a couple of vowels now. You got 1 completed 2-letter word.
Do you want to go for another vowel?
What vowel? Because at first I thought the first word was arrow, but I realized it's not.
Right. That's like, I mean, it could still be.
No, it's not enough letters.
A-R-R-O-W.
Oh wait, I'm a goof. Yeah, let's do R.
Are you sure? You want to lock in R right now?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would like to lock in R. I would really like to lock in
And
R.
let's lock in an O as well. Let's lock in an
Okay.
Okay, we're getting there. We're speeding up.
O. A W.
W. Congratulations. You have a second word completed.
Oh,
Arrow?
is the second word Draven?
Arrow Draven
Is on fire?
No, it's got to be 2 words.
Oh, you're right. Well, is there supposed to be a space there, Steve? Don't lie to me.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Because on fire is not
There-
1 word.
I know. I'm just making
I'm
sure.
done- I'm
he's
done
not
with
trolling.
No,
King
I'm not
is
going to
this.
spoil it. I'm
I'm
not going
telling
to spoil
King
it.
is
This is
this.
already too easy
Oh,
of
no,
one.
no,
We already
it's-
talked about it.
Okay, I already know. Arrow Draven is online.
Ah.
Damn it. Yeah, that's it.
Let's go,
All
Magical.
right,
High
you got
five, buddy.
it, you got
High five.
it.
Come on.
Wait, which way is it?
Or-
Boom, there you
this
go.
way.
There's
Oh, yeah,
just
this
all
way,
of
this
them.
way.
All right, final one. Arrow, the Draven. See, I gave it away by already talking about the game before we started this segment. But it really did feel like known for this champion. I even did a game called 1v1 Me back last split with Bradley. Oh, this looks amazing, actually. I love this.
so
Y'all are
big.
just tiny compared to me. Wait, I have
Wait,
so
hold
much
on,
control
hold
right
on.
now.
Let's see
Wait,
what
before
I can do.
production changes this, maybe I can do something silly. Nah, I don't
Enjoy
have the time for
enjoy it while
The-
it lasts. When I see you in Chicago, things will be right in the world.
Oh, he's gone!
Oh,
He's
no!
gone! The point I was going to say is that Arrow's known for the Draven pick. Bradley and him used to do 1v1s on Draven to see who was the better player, and Arrow would slap him around every time. We even did it on stream, and he was able to win that 1v1. Actually, no, I think back on it, he might have lost that one. But the cool thing is that he's known for this pick, and bringing it out now on the Proving Ground stage feels incredible.
I agree, and it's like I even said it in Champ Select, where it's a champion where he's played it quite often, even before it was super meta as it is now. He even played it mid lane last year in Amateur when he was a wild card, right? It's really fun to see this meta really work out for him, especially because if we look at Immortals Progressive as a team, from what I was watching in Academy and of course in Proving Grounds, it seemed like this team was struggling overall, and Arrow was on that list of struggling players. So to see him really bring it back now, I think is such a big deal for a player, I mean, who's been at every level of play at this point and is trying to get back to tier 1.
The biggest thing I noted, and Magical, I'm not sure if you had the same opinion based on the Academy regular season, with Arrow, when they were on that hot losing streak where they were like, 8 losses in a row?
Is that what we're calling
a lot
it?
of times, a hot losing streak. That's how you put a little spin on it. Arrow would go really aggressive at moments where the team wasn't really there to back him up. He wasn't really prepared for it. Now I think Draven's a much better pick for him because he can go aggressive much earlier on and actually has the upfront damage to actually go for some of these early plays.
Well,
but obviously this one wasn't too hot for him.
Well, the thing is, I even called this out in the cast. It's honestly probably the perfect time for Arrow to die as Draven. Doesn't have that many stacks of adoration.
True.
It's level 1, so you're not gaining that much gold from killing him that early on into the game. And then later, when the game has nothing really going on for some time, when he finally does pick up a kill, he has a ton of stacks.
Getting the stacks here was massive. Boom. Whirling death. He wasn't even on the same screen.
No.
But the fact that he got that meant that he was off to the races. He got, his 2-item spike very quickly in this game. And it was a kind of a snoozer for the first 10, 15 minutes of the game. But then things started to pick up right around this moment, Beatdown.
They did, and realistically, you could see it, Arrow, he's just fighting everybody at this point. He is in such a strong position, and the fact that 100 Next were very split up in this fight, unsure of how they wanted to actually proceed here, just made it that much easier for Arrow to get it done.
Super cool for Vital to actually go for that TP to end the game.
Yeah,
I mean, there were a couple plays between those two, right? We went from the first kill for Arrow immediately to the last kill for Arrow. But the steps along the way, I felt like Immortals Academy had a much better understanding and much more comfort in playing a controlled game, a slower tempoed game, but still getting the advantages. And then when it was time to go for the big plays, they just pulled the trigger. They felt like they were much more comfortable doing that.
Agreed. And I think now going into this next game, 100 Next probably have to revisit how they go through this draft there, because a draft like that where you have very little early game agency, versus, except for the jungle, of course, Fnatic playing Trundle, is probably something they could get away with that in Amateur, but it's clear that that does not work against Academy teams because they will choke you out before you get to those crucial item spikes.
And strangely for me, it's like well, the Trundle I think is fine. I actually still would prefer the Vi there for the Fnatic because it functions very. No, it wasn't.
Oh,
Wasn't? Oh,
No, it wasn't banned.
that's weird.
Not my notes.
Magical's got
enough.
his notes. Beat that. You
Damn.
can't pull that on him.
Can't pull
You're
that on
right.
me.
My bad.
Yeah,
I
pull
don't
that on me.
Damn.
Either way.
I tried to fool him.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it was not banned. They picked the Trundle anyways, because the Trundle wasn't banned this time around. And it usually kind of look at that matchup too, the Trundle against Viego. It is going to be more Trundle favored early into the game. But you pick the Vi purely so you can have lockdown on Draven. Make sure that Arrow can't really play the game.
I wish that chat could hear, by the way, Production's clips about Magical every time, because I think I'm the only one that gets that. Magical, can you hold up your notes to prove that you actually wrote down Vi? Because they brought up a good point.
You
I can't
really
read.
see
Wait.
it.
I have no idea. That is not legible, my friend.
It says
I don't know.
Wukong,
Are you a doctor?
Lissandra, Poppy, Silas, Braum. That says Talia, Azir, Callista, Renata Glask, and Alistar.
I don't. Sure. If
I'm
you
just gonna
say
take your
so.
word on that.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to trust Magical, which is a dangerous proposition.
Yeah.
Beatdown though, you're gonna say something.
I think Vi that game would have been tough because as much as Vi's picked very, very often, she's not exactly the best champ right now. Don't get me wrong. I love her. Played her all through season 10. It would have been fun, but I think I don't know. If you have to make sure things like Trundle are off the table if you're gonna do that.
It can lock down a LeBlanc, which Trundle was struggling with. Even got one shot at one point. But let's see what their adaptation is going into game number 3. One of these teams' proving ground run ends here. 1-1 on the scoreboard. Magical Beatdown. Take it away.
When you get into a position like this as a team on both sides for Immortals Progressive Academy and for 100 Thieves next, the last 2 games mean nothing. It is only this game that is truly important for how you look at playing against your opponents. And here into the bands, we already have Wukong and Renata Glask taken away by IMT, who remain on the same side for a 3rd game in a row.
And so the Renata Glass is usually something we saw 100 Thieves try and grab away. It's interesting that it's going the other way around now. Fact is, we're seeing the adaptations going through the first couple of games here, but I think the big thing now is at this point, you said it, stakes are high. This is an elimination. We're game 3. There is no cushion for anybody anymore. You win this, you advance in the tournament, you play CLG Academy in the next stage of the bracket. The other one, your year is over. Start planning for next year.
We have 2 jungle bans by Immortals Progressive. Wukong makes sense. Fnatic has been liking that champion, but also the Poppy. Nice ban there. I'm curious, would that LeBlanc actually be banned by 100 next now? What does Immortals fall back to as their first pick? Do they go for maybe taking away that Sivir from Lens?
We could see a lot of things come through realistically. You've seen the Renata ban go through because maybe they are going like super hyper carry rude. First pick like a Zeri, first pick a Sivir, something
Callista's
along those
open.
lines.
Ooh,
Callista.
wait.
Oh, or maybe they just go for the Draven.
Whoa, okay.
Maybe for the reason that Callista, they could have just immediately gone like Callista Draven or Callista Renata because that's a bot lane 100x play a lot.
Yeah, no, Renata's banned. So that's the thing.
I know, but
It's
that's what I was gonna say.
Right, there's a lot of things I'm looking at here where you have the Renata banned away. Callista has been something that has been banned away against Arrow by 100x this entire time, but they still go for Draven. Feel that Arrow is that confident on this champion. One of those comfort picks that's going to be a Felios to face up against them.
That is an interesting one, and now we're gonna see what's paired in that bottom side. Okay, so
No, we're not.
They just keep taking the Fiora on R2. They do not care, and I think now, realistically, you don't have to worry about any potential support picks you want getting taken away, because I have a feeling that we're probably going to see like a Lulu come through for Sword,
Right.
just to keep the shielding and probably healing going through here for the side of 100 next.
I would expect the same thing. That is what got them victory in the first game, where they could use the wild growth on either the Sivir or Fiora, but with pretty much a similar draft for Immortals. With that Viego locked in for Chad, the only thing that we don't see that is open for them is LeBlanc 3 mid lane bans, focused and aimed at Pretty.
Right, now, we're gonna have to see dig pretty. I didn't even mean that. Deep into his chip pool to see what else comes through. The Ari is one. Lysandra is still up on the table as well. But the Ari lock-in makes a lot of sense. You're good at skirmishing as soon as you become level 6. Good lord, the mobility with that Spirit Rush is something to behold. And now, what's the option for Dark Wings? Could technically consider something like the Silas coming through. I think picking mid is that's a good point actually. The Lysandra is really tough to play into. You kind of almost force the Ari to go cleanse, otherwise you just have the worst game of your life. And it just means that overall you have a lot of engage potential.
To me, when I see an Ari locked in for Pretty with Chad on Viego, they are looking to play with one another. That 2v2 that we talked about, the mid-jungle duo that Immortals Progressive have been utilizing throughout their Proving Grounds as well as Academy when they found successes. And you need to make sure you can stop that. Stop it in its tracks, make it really difficult for Ari to actually rotate around the map. And I like that pick of Lysandra for Darkwings with the ban then. On the other side, the fact that we have a Gnar band away from Vital, so we'll have a new top lane matchup, but also the Vi taken away from Fnatic.
Yeah, and I think those are two big takeaways there. Of course, this time around, I think the Vi would definitely have more value for Fnatic there, especially because you already know you're playing into Viego. And on the other side, Gnar, you take away that big engage, big team fight option that's been working so well for Immortals Progressive, and you take away another scaling pick there. So now, what's left for Vital? Is it just going to be the Ornn or Sion or something along those lines for the tank frontline? Because you already have so much damage, you do need someone to make space, you do need someone to be a frontline, but that kind of plays into what Sniper is looking for. Because Fiora, tanks, the handshake moment right there.
Yeah, I mean, Vital could go back to Ornn. They do kind of need that frontline, but it would struggle then into Sniper on Fiora, as you're kind of calling out. But Fnatic gets his Lee Sin, and I had been calling this out all day, but haven't seen it. But here we go. With some focus on the jungle bans from Immortals Progressive, leaves Lee Sin as the fallback.
So it's good, interesting, because you have a lot of options to make early plays with the Lee Sin, and a lot of playmaking coming through on a champion like that. Fnatic, a lot of experience on the pick, means that the option is there, especially with an 80 carry like the Draven. One well-placed insect could change the way fights turn out, because you look at Immortals comp, yeah, there's a lot of damage here and there. We're looking at Arrow. You take Arrow out of the picture, it's like, all right, see you next fight. Well played.
All right, I'm looking at that last pick, though, for Immortals Progressive. You got Leona locked in for Joey, but they lock in Tryndamere to face off against Fiora. I'm not surprised by the Tom Kench pick. That was an expected pick for me. But looking at the Tryndamere versus Fiora matchup, now that one's exciting.
That one is interesting because I'm not sure I've actually seen that matchup at any point, but I think it's interesting to match split push with split push, and I think if played right, I mean, you're going to see Vital actually have a pretty good time getting on top of someone like Lens in these team fights, popping the ghost, everything like that. And that's another reason why Tom Kench is so good here for 100 next. It's going to give Lens that space to be that late game damage carry, because that's what you're playing for. Just like how Immortals comp, a lot of this is going to be on Arrow. On the other side, 100 next, they are all inning on Lens on that bottom lane.
I'm also curious to look at the summoners, if those are going to be what is locked in for both sides. Vital with Ghost and Sniper with Ignite. No TPs for the top lanes, but possibly what we're going to see going into our third and final game of the day. Do or die for Immortals Progressive and 100 Thieves next. That would be one way to end the day.
It would be, and we'll see. We got an exciting draft from both sides, Magical, and we're heading into our potentially final game, or not potentially, our literally final game. You're right. Final game of the night coming through here. One of these teams is going home. One of these teams' split is about to end.
And we will find out which of those teams will fall as we get onto the Rift for the last time tonight. 100 Thieves next, facing off against Immortals Progressive Academy. Backs to the wall, both of them on the edge of the volcano, but which team will be pushed in?
Now already, bit of a stack play coming through here, and it's just that bit of vision. Fnatic playing that Lee Sin, wanting to be that jungler, having a lot of early game impact, trying to impact your laners and facilitate them, means that getting that early vision on where this jungler is going to start is important for Immortals, especially because they have a lot of early game pressure of their own that they want to utilize here, especially that Draven Leona in the bot lane.
Raven Leona facing up against an Aphelios Tom Kench lane, something that's statistically a very safe bot lane. Doesn't really want to interact too much, but if I know Arrow and Joey playing this matchup, they're going to look for that early sure, and if they don't get like they did it early last game, it could be even sooner that you see this Draven online.
It's possible. Much like in that last game, Arrow snowballing was a big part of why Immortals managed to come back and win game 2. And now, looking at the mid lane matchup again, mid jungle. Two positions we highlighted very often when talking about and just casting over this series, Magical. Now, you have another chance for both of them to be able to come through. Darkwings went big on the Sylas in game 1. Wasn't able to cut it on the Corki game 2. Now Lissandra, big playmaker. He has a chance to make it right.
Moving around the map as well. Curious to see whether we see that mid jungle duo that we hyped up at the beginning of the day be able to actually pair up with one another from each side of the map as bot lane. Just a bit of trading back and forth, looking for that level 2 spike so they can control the lane.
Right, and overall, I'm looking at the junglers more than anything else right now. You see them going in opposite directions. Fnatic heading towards top, Chad heading towards bot. And the play is just what can you find in this early game, especially as Fnatic? Because even though you're in a position where you can interact a lot earlier than you could in the previous game, there's still a lot of pressure on Fnatic in this early game, on this Lee Sin. You have Aphelios Tom Kent, safe lane, yes. But what's Fnatic going to be able to do to keep the game going?
Well, what is Chad going to do here? Level 3, looking for a dive against level 1s across the board for Lens and Sword. Tonglash comes out the flash with an exhaust. The flash away. The Lens is ticking and will die. The adoration early on for IMT. Joey will be the sacrifice, but they burned a lot out of 100 Thieves next for it.
To be fair, a lot was burned from Arrow too. Flash and Cleanse out of the picture, but you're right. He gets first blood. He has to cash in a bit of adoration of whatever he had. That means that is a big early game play for IMT, taking full control of the wave, and you said it, level 1 Lens and Sword, because they just cannot interact level 1 and 2. And it's the perfect opportunity, especially with Fnatic pathing away.
Well, for me, the big thing is not only is it a kill for Arrow, but Arrow kills Lens and gets the TP from Darkwings. They gain so much across the board. For IMT, we're pretty now TP back into lane and know that he's got a free lane for quite some time as Darkwings has to walk the entirety of it.
Right, but at this point too, you can see it in the CS and the fact that Pretty has already TP'd. He didn't lose much for TPing to the bottom lane. In fact, he gained a kill. So I think in terms of the mid matchup, it's kind of worth for Darkwings himself. It's just brutal.
For the mid matchup, maybe.
Yes, but it's brutal for Lens, which I think is what we're really should be highlighting, just because, I mean, look at the CS right now. Lens is at 7. The wave is pushing away from him. This sucks. Oh my god, look at the mini-map.
Yeah, at this point, I think you just go for a full-on, like, lane swap. You're like, nah, I don't want to face this Draven anymore. Please get me out. Help me, because now you see the problem. You stick around and you find out against him. Arrow doesn't get the cash in this time, doesn't even need it. Giving the gold over to Chad because he knows he's got that much of a domination in the bot lane. As Pretty gets jumped on with the Ring of Frost. Sonic Wave connects. Do they look for the dive? There's going to be a charm right underneath the turret. Pretty looking to turn it around. The tower does not take Fnatic with them.
Lord, did they need that play to work out, Magical, and it was close. Very, very close, but it works. And you get the kill on Pretty pre-6 before he has Spirit Rush, and no flash available here. And at this point, this bot lane is over, man. You got to play for other parts of the map here, and that's exactly what we're seeing Fnatic do. At least you have Sniper on Fiora. You have Darkwings on the Lissandra as well, because bot lane, I mean, Chad knows where it hurts, and he's just going to keep on pressing.
And here, the fact that Pretty dies, it's expected. We knew that he was going to die, but he almost got Fnatic, and as you had called out, had that happened, that would have been it for 100 Thieves next. That play not working out would have ended the game right then and there.
At this point, we're still in a position where It's hard to know whether or not IMT will be able to end this series. Just the fact that you can see the insane CS difference coming bot lane now. It's still 30 creeps up, and this lane, it's looking like Arrow has got it frozen, or at the very least stuck on his side of the map here. And finally, Fnatic is in the area to be able to at least help him.
He's got double the gold. Double the gold.
Double the gold.
Double the gold. That is insane for Arrow at this point of the game. Having to kill him to his name is Chad. Keep Sniper from backing. No TP for that Fiora either. So much time burn. Vital should be able to get a plate for it.
Dude, Chad is just all over the map right now, in full control. The fact that there is no teleport, you better hope this play works bottom lane, or at least Lens is going to be able to get plates, but it's looking like they aren't even going to pressure that here. Finally, Lens is just going to be able to get a recall, get some gold into his pocket, and then the hands of Sniper, look at everything he's lost.
Right. This is across the board. A huge loss for 100 Thieves next, because they lose out on a fat minion wave that Sniper could have picked up. They lose out bot lane because they don't even get the play to work on an Arrow and Joey that they were trying to set up for a cross-map play.
Yeah, and it's now IMT Progressive are just in the perfect position to keep this one going here. The fact is, Arrow is insanely ahead. Like, since we last checked, he was double Lens's gold, and it just means that Lens, at the Felios, who wants to reach 2-3 items, is just gonna get there monumentally slower. And that means Arrow, who's already getting close to that Essence Reaver, or getting closer, I should say, is gonna be in a position where you can just take any fight you want as IMT. 100 next, they have to back off for quite a bit and hope Fnatic can make plays on other parts of the map.
And that's honestly rough when you're in that kind of position. You're hoping that plays are made elsewhere to get some sort of gold back for the team, even if it doesn't look like there's that massive of a difference between the two sides. You have double the CS for Arrow over Lens at this point. Maybe not exactly double, but close enough. He's got more than 2,000 gold, I think, over Lens at this point of the game. So Fnatic, there's a lot on his back, a lot of pressure put up into this player who's been around the block in amateur, even in academy, to step up big in a do or die game.
We talked about nerves being an issue for 100 next. In hopes, they gotta hope that they can overcome them in this game, because there are no more chances, Magical. No. This is their only opportunity left to stay in the tournament. And it will be to beat Immortals Progressive, especially with the lead that they have gotten for themselves on Immortals' side. That is a tall ask. You can see the difference in XP bottom lane. Lens is 4 to Arrow's 6. It has just been a nightmare to beat Lens this game.
That's why you can even see that Darkwing's Fnatic, they are trying to be the mid-jungle duo that rotates around the map, making plays in the bot lane, but every single time they leave, it's spotted out by IMT. They're like, hey, bot lane, be careful. You're going to probably get dove, because that's what we're expecting them to try to hit at. That's the only lane that they think they have a way to make a play, as long as they can draw all 4 members here. Well, in mid lane, it will be Pretty kicked away. Does have Spirit Rush. Wait a minute, Pretty! How does he keep doing this? That's, again, he turns it around, but this time he actually gets the kill.
That's brutal, and it's not even the 1-for-1. Fnatic goes down and gets nothing in the process here, and that's the opening that could be used for the Herald, but Chad is just going to recall. Everything's going well for Immortals Progressive, and it seems like 100 next are falling apart at the seams. It all looks so good from the play coming through. Oh, okay, here we go.
Top lane, that's going to be the grand challenge, but that will be an unstoppable rage pop as well. Both of them going to survive, but both ultis popped. Ghost for an Ignite. Traded out between the 2 side laners.
That is something. A potential pressure point 100 next can play for. In fact, the Sniper is pretty much running this matchup, and the fact that maybe they can play off of that win condition here. But it's hard because, again, this composition, Sniper is going to be more for split pushing. And yes, great if he can do a Vital. But when we get to objective fights, Magical, you need Lens in the picture. But you can just see it again. He's still down so very much. And the bot lane of IMT, we keep touching on it, have been playing this one really well. They recognize, all right, Chad's on the other side of the map. Hey, you know what? Mid's missing. Haven't seen Fnatic in a little bit. You know, why don't we just back off here and make sure that there is no opening for Fnatic to take to swing back in the game.
Focusing on that bot lane, looking at Arrow in particular, This is a player with a long history in esports, in playing competitive. You talked about the many different leagues that he's played in, the different styles he's come across and played through. He's a player who knows how to play under pressure, and you can see it with the last game and even in this game. Getting gifted a lot of potential over Lens, and he is using it to the fullest.
Now things continue to be in favor of Immortals Progressive. You have Chad, who has the Rift Herald ready to go here. Looking like he wants to use it on this top side of the map as they rotate Arrow here. And because Lens and Sword are going to be slow to the rip, and because Sniper's out of the picture, this is a really good position to take out some more turret plates, maybe even the whole turret, because that would be first brick and so much gold into Arrow's pocket. This is just crazy.
It is. Look, I'm just looking at the mini-map, looking at the pathing of Fnatic. He's like, I've outsmarted him. They have a ward over here. I'm going to go around. Control ward. They know exactly that he and Sword are both here. With the Rift Herald in their inventory, Joey will rotate around and see them starting to rotate around to look for the play onto Arrow. 3v3, Lissandra, the first one on the call, looking for the engage out of Sword, but he wasn't able to connect anything out of it. So has to get back towards the turret, and they will even call back Dark Wings into mid lane.
All right, so at least you do read the play fast enough to prevent yourself from losing the whole turret. But overall, I mean, they're still going to be able to drop it in the top side, and now Pretty, he wants to kill.
He wants it. He wants a revenge. Says, how dare you send up your junglers to camp me twice in a row. I will throw it right back in your face.
Yeah, and here it is. Rift Herald. It's not going to be the turret, but
Moonlight Vigil came out. That's a lot of damage. Moonlight Vigil will scare off IMT from actually taking the plate in its entirety.
Yeah, but still, I mean, all this pressure is here, and Arrow is just going to go ahead and stay. Unless...
that's risky.
Is he on his own? Okay, so Joey actually finished the recall.
Yeah, but look at where Fnatic is. He's pathing, thinking Joey has remained in the top lane, not really realizing that it was only Arrow by himself. So no play will be committed by 100 Thieves next to this point in the game are just slowly but surely falling further and further behind.
They are, and the lead is small, but I think part of that is because Dark Wings is 2-0. Sniper has a pretty solid CS lead coming through here and has gotten some turret plates for himself versus Vital. A lot of gold, though, is in favor of Arrow. He has the Essence Reaver, and it means that this next dragon fight, probably in 2 minutes' time, is something you can't go for here. Mortals are in a position to go ahead and play towards the Dragon Soul once more.
And where people going into this day had favored 100 Thieves next, Immortals are looking pretty favored in this game, playing it slowly and methodically, gaining every foothold over 100 Thieves next, which then begs the question of what can 100 Thieves next do to bounce back in this game and wrestle that control away from Immortals Progressive.
It's gonna have to be a fight where Lens is the one to be able to pick up some extra gold there just to be able to narrow the gap, because again, the sooner you get Lens 2-3 items, that's where he is most effective in the 5v5 and is going to be a big plus for 100 next. But him being so delayed to reach those spikes means this early mid game is so in favor of Immortals. And really quickly on the top side, Vital managed to get that last plate with the bonus turret gold. So that is a lot of gold for Vital, who was falling behind of Sniper.
Dark Wings went in, found out Joey, gets the Solar Flare onto 2 members, and here's Pretty, the Devourer, will save the life of Dark Wings for now, but Fnatic had to flash away, and the Heartbreaker will break the hearts of Amateur as they are back towards their turret. But this is all IMT, this is all them, a double kill on top of it all for Arrow. IMT Progressive, they are here to continue their march to the top of Proving Grounds.
Look at it. They want this fight magical. Joey's low. He doesn't care. He'll throw his life away.
They've got it all. They've got the damage on a sword, and they've even gotten Lens a rampage for Arrow with another double kill on top of it all.
And that last kill coming, all these kills coming through for 100 next. Not a single one onto Lens. The gold just continues to farm up for Immortals Progressive, and now they find themselves at 4K. Now they find themselves in complete control of Game 3, and they're ready to close things out. Darkwings, you see him get caught out here, trying to get fancy with it, but just can't get it done. And at this point, it's damage control for 100 next, and they can't control anything.
Well, I will give credit over to Darkwings too. The fact that not only does he survive, but he will eventually get a couple kills back for his team that he gains the credit for. That it doesn't go over to Sword. So you have a Lissandra that's actually not necessarily falling too far behind. The only problem is it's Arrow that gets all the kills.
Yeah, and I mean, realistically, like, Lissandra has a lot of use in this comp, but it's not so Lissandra gets all the gold. You want Aphelios to pick it up. And again, dying under turret. None of these kills go over to Lens. And it just means all this gold. And it just means that Lens, at this point, hasn't even completed his mythic. He is just behind everyone else on the map here, especially the 5-0 Draven and Arrow, who is 2.5 items deep.
2.5 items. That is brutal for Lens in the spot lane. And I asked how can they get back into this game? You said they have to have a fight around Lens. There's got to be a backup plan, right? There's got to be something else you can rely on. Right?
I mean,
right?
Do you want the honest answer? Or...
I want the honest answer. Give me the honest truth.
Okay, well, no.
Okay.
Not really. I mean,
So,
like, look at the goal difference here. 4K in favor of Arrow. Imagine team fighting. You basically don't have an AD carry. Just think about that.
This is where it's rough, because this is a do or die. This is elimination. And it's only 17 minutes into the game. I don't want to say this game is over.
It's
but
not.
It's just hard to imagine a way that 100 Thieves next can get themselves back into the game. They do at least have Gale Force now for Lens.
Sword?
Okay, could be a little bit too greedy from Joey and Vital. You get a lot of damage back onto Joey.
Is that a kill?
Lens, if he can pick it up. No, Joey's
He
alive.
needs something.
Barely he survives, and Lens cannot gain the gold from it.
Okay, and again, this just would be so big, but at least you get the health out. At least you're able to get this wave in. But with how strong Arrow is, I don't know you can actually do anything about it.
Wait a minute,
Whoa,
Chad,
wait a minute,
a little
Chad?
too deep. That's going to be the Heartbreaker. That does not save his life at all. As Pretty chives away, there was a full charge. They will deny the turret from fully falling, but gold was still picked up by 100 Thieves.
Okay, now they can take this turret, which is really surprising to me. And now you also get turrets in the split from Sniper. So you're starting to get back into this one again. You're hoping you can get more for Lens, who is still going through the blender.
Screw it. I'll take that. If I'm 100 Thieves next fan,
you do
I will
take
be like,
that. You
that
do
is
take that.
Assist gold picked up by Lens.
That's
He's got something
true.
back for his team. They got the turret in mid lane as
Wait,
well.
nobody died.
Yeah, one person died.
Oh, there you
Chad
go.
did. Chad did.
Oh, that's right. So yeah, assist gold is going over. That is true. That is much needed. And we're at a point too where 100 next. You're seeing stopwatches come through. Jeez, they're probably holding on to that one. Either they're going to force a play before the next dragon, or they're just having it ready so that when dragon comes up, they can try and make the turnaround come through. Because if you can all in and trade, honestly, if almost anyone on 100 next are able to take down someone like Arrow, trade their lives for him, that's valuable.
I think it's only Arrow. If you can take down Arrow, you take down IMT Progressive, because that is where the gold is. We saw that it was a 4,000 gold lead for Arrow over Lens, and there's that 4,000 gold lead here in this game.
Yeah, he's actually the whole gold lead. Like, realistically.
You kill Arrow, you win.
Yeah, someone on 100 next has to trade their life for Arrow. That's the only way you get these fights coming through here. And it's tough because we said in Chance Select, Fnatic could have that playmaking potential with the Lee Sin, but you got to get into that backline somehow, bro.
Fnatic, he's done it before, though. We look to the past when he was on Resolve. The big upset that they were able to get over Cloud9 Academy. He was the jungler there leading the charge. Up here against Immortals Progressive, maybe not quite the number 2 seed to try to topple, but it is their entire lives of Proving Grounds on the line. A Sniper flashed away from the Everfrost with the TV coming in. They might be able to turn this around. Darkwings, he's got the damage. They've got the grand challenge.
Chad is here, though.
Connects, has to use the Frozen Tomb on himself and leave him out to dry. The claw is not good.
And that is brutal. It looked like the turnaround was coming through, but Chad was waiting in the wings for this to happen. Oh my god, Chad. is just going to go ahead and use the claw, but there it is. Every play, 100 Thieves seem to go for it, just aren't able to make it happen here, and they just fall further and further into the hole. Infernal Soul Point coming up for Immortals. Aggressive, and you gotta imagine they will certainly get this one done. You have no hope of setting up for that objective, and that's why you see 100 next move to this top side, set up vision, even some deep vision if they can, and that's why Pretty's TPing just for good measure.
Just for good measure, so they're going to be the first ones on the call for that dragon. Third one of the game, Infernal Soul will be on the line, and 100 Thieves next. I don't even know if they want to contest the soul itself and just play for the Elder Dragon that will eventually spawn, because right now, with losing that tier 1 turret sniper on the flank, does seem a little bit late to the party. He is spotted out and will dive back towards the team.
Gets Char. Oh, wait a minute.
Okay, didn't flash, and Darkwings went in for the initiation, but he had to use
No
Trojan
flash.
on himself. No flash. Do they get out? Moonlight Vigil on the 5 members. That's a lot of damage, but you can tell that Lens just does not have enough to actually topple anyone on Immortals, but it will gain them the dragon, their first one of the game.
That's pretty big. So the dragon does not get stolen by Whirling Death. No one falls in the process. A really clutch ultimate from Lens and big stalling from Darkwings. I think we'll see it if we go to a replay there. And that's, oh my god, that is some insanely needed breathing room magical. The fact that they actually managed to delay the soul point and not lose anybody in the process. And even looking at it, any major summoner spell. Oh,
you
Lens.
spoke too soon. You cursed it. You cursed it, Beatdown. I can't believe you've done this.
I can't believe. I mean, that's not a smart position to be in for Lens, and him being out of the picture. IMT are like, okay, well, we're just gonna go ahead and do Baron now. And what are they gonna do about it on 100X side? It's gonna be
Miracle?
a miracle steal if I ever saw one.
There's no TP for Sniper. He took Ignite in this game. So, Fnatic, it is on you. Are you the hero that 100 next need, or the engage that's going to be engaged on top of you as you go into the back line, but you weren't able to smite secure it? You're golden. You're killed by Chad. He's got the Baron, and IMT have control.
And they just gets further and further away from 100 next. Any opportunity to advance in Proving Grounds. IMTA, they get the Baron and they get more gold into their pockets. And what does 100 next get for it? A bottom tier 1 turret. 100 next, objective bounties are up. Any chance they have at the game is slowly crumbling away. Magical. We could be one team fight away from everything ending here and now with the Baron buff in IMT's hands.
One game, one fight away from losing yet another amateur team, the 9th that possibly could fall, leaving only AoE Ginger Turmeric. A lot of pressure is put onto the #1 seed from amateur in 100 Thieves next to make sure that they find those picks. If, again, they can find Arrow, that gold lead is primarily Arrow. Joey in the back line, they can't touch him. Look how far away Arrow is this entire time. Moonlight Vigil will at least lock down
the
Chad with a kick. They've got the pick, but they gotta be careful. That damage from Arrow is a lot. Now they have to go back and go to the drawing boards with only the 1 kill onto Chad.
Still, that is something to be really happy about. You saved, okay, I say you saved the turret, you could sneeze on it, but it's going down. You get a big kill onto Chad, and you get more gold into Lens's pocket, which is so desperately needed. I don't think he quite got the kill, but the insect, the playmaking from Fnatic is what we were hoping for when we saw the Lee Sin. You talked about the C9 Academy series, that they Resolve ended up winning Magical. I made a meme about Fnatic constantly kicking King into his team. That ish was funny. That's all I'm gonna say.
I thought you were going somewhere with that, Pete. I thought there was going to be more of a point to the story.
He just kept doing it, and maybe he can do it again.
Well,
and
he's
again.
gonna soon because he only kicked Chad last time, and Chad has gone for the tankier route with Viego, building up the Dead Man's Plate, and as you called out, just to sneeze, to topple the tier 2 turret in mid lane, giving more and more gold. A 700 gold bounty atop the head of the former KT ADC.
Oh my god. He is 12k, he's 5k up on Lens. That is a full item and a half in gold. And that's just, we talked about Fnatic getting the kick onto Chad. Well, now, he's got to do it on Arrow. If he can get this 80 carry out of the picture, a world of possibilities opens up for 100 next Magical. It is insane. But it's a big if. You got a lot of people to go through in the process.
Well, that's why I keep bringing back the conversation of where the gold lead is, because it's a 7,000 gold lead for Immortals Progressive Academy, but nearly every cent of that is in Arrow's pocket. Killing him is not even just important, it is critical. It is of utmost importance for 100 Knicks if they want to remain in this game and try to take down Immortals Progressive.
Now you can see it. Arrow is 3 items deep. Lens, he is trying to scrape whatever gold he can.
He's an item and a
number
half.
2. Yeah,
Right.
he's working towards, I think, the Bloodthirster coming through here. A bit of sustain will definitely do him wonders. And now, you're in a position, Fnatic smites away the buff. This is an interesting one. You got a good fight in to deny the soul. Now, this time around, with getting to the later parts of the game, yes, IMT don't have Baron, but do you want to risk fighting the next Drake? I think 100 next, you let it go. Just walk away from that dragon. Don't bother setting up for it. Play for other parts of the map because you risk losing too much if you get aced here and now.
I agree, and you can see with Darkwings in the side and Fnatic there too, IMT called a bluff and are now trying to bulldoze down mid lane towers. They already have that inhibitor taken so quickly as Darkwings and Fnatic barely come back into lane to stop the inhibitor itself.
Right, and it's just to make sure that no trade play is coming on the cross map here. IMT are so strong that if they march as 5 to the base, not a single person can be on the split push Magical. You have to respect that and recall, and it means that very little gets to be traded for what's about to go down here. And that's why you see Pretty and Joey just making sure that mid turret doesn't go down and 100 next again. Gotta pay their respects. They just gotta walk away. Immortals playing so intelligently, just making sure 100 next are not able to trade gold for what they lose.
And the thing is, it's still dicey for 100 Thieves next.
Yep.
Sacrificing a soul point potential over to Immortals Progressive. The soul, pretty easy for Immortals themselves to grab up next time it spawns in the game. It might be delayed a little bit further, but you know, as you call out, 100 Thieves next, that's pretty much their only saving grace is to try to get the game last long enough for Lens to start building up these items.
And now you're on a timer. As 100 next, in these 4 minutes, what are you able to do to get your team in a position to maybe bring it
find
back
the
to
pick?
Chad?
Could look for Chad. Chad trying to get away. The kick.
No information.
It's there. They landed Sonic Wave, but like you said, no information on the other members of Immortals and did not want to greed for the play.
Yeah, and I respect the reservation to make sure you don't lose things out, but now Chad is definitely not by himself.
Sword. Okay, didn't get the Zenith Blade on the other side. That's going to be the Solar Flare only onto the Tom Kench. Gets back towards his team. The Claw was able to thwart IMT from looking for a play further. But they are still the ones with the advantage because they got all 5 here. Sniper is still in the side lane trying to fight and split push without having TP.
That's right, and you can see it, the tier 3 turret ends up falling with Baron up on the map. They can go ahead and just start that one up as Immortals. And the thing now, though, someone has to back and respect the fact the Sniper now is threatening this tier 2 turret. It should be a lot of gold, you're right. Demolish kind of goes crazy, and that is some much-needed gold here, but now... Oh, no.
Wait a minute.
Okay, no, they don't want to do it.
IMT fully reset. Does 100 Thieves next realize this? Could they peel back? No, they don't have that confidence.
No, I think it's too risky. I think you don't quite have the full information yet. You starting the Baron now, especially with Lens being so far behind, quick enough. But still,
true.
Now at least you set up some vision. Now, Immortals aren't going to be able to surprise you with the Baron take. The big thing is that you're trying to find an angle or a play, because I said it, there are a few minutes before Dragon Soul, and you won't win the straight-up 5v5. What are 100 Thieves going to be able to find to make sure they can secure this next dragon? Because if they don't get it, Magical, this game's over.
I don't know why you're asking me. I should be asking you.
I'm not asking you. I'm telling you, if they can't get it, the game is over.
Okay, well, if they can get it, then what?
Oh, if they can get it, they buy themselves more time. And realistically, time very much favors 100 next. It's just, it's really hard for them to buy time.
You're right, and I don't see them having enough cash to buy that time. They are far back. Lens gets focused by Vital, gobbled up by Sword. Vital is low, but he still has Undying Rage if he wants to fight back. They got the lockdown on a Joey, but he goes golden. Vital goes back in, trying to cut out the best he can. There's the Undying Rage. Now they went into the back line. Joey is not able to get Darkwings. They've got damage, looking for the kick.
Oh, the kick! Are you serious, Fnatic?
He's still there, but look at Fnatic! He took the Wonder Kid for 100 Thieves next.
What did I tell you? This is the best jungler we have at Amateur, and he makes the play happen. This is the opening before the Dragon Soul comes through. They have to get this Baron. 100 next have to secure it. Fnatic wins the 50-50. Oh my
God!
God!
The damage, and Smite is not there. It's gonna be Fnatic jumping out of the pit. Sword followed up. They've got 1 kill. They've got more. Even if it was traded back by Lens, he's got damage himself, but he does not have the levels to fight back against IMT.
Still, this is a big win for 100 next to be able to get so much gold into their pockets and almost make a Baron play come through. Insane! And you can see here in the replay, I mean, look at Arrow. Part of it is the Whirling Death and how he's able to get the execute off Riposte be damned. But so much damage. Now Lens is starting to be relevant in terms of the damage output. Now he's getting to the point where he can match what Arrow is able to do partially. And you can see it. Even though 100 next aren't able to take the Baron, the fact that they walk away even is insane for them here. And you can see it. Lens got some extra gold. Magical, if 100 next get this Dragon, if Lens can get towards that IE, there's a real shot they can win this game.
I mean, this game, it is close. Except for the ADCs. That's the only thing that's not close. And now Fnatic, oh no. He's in a bad spot. The kick away onto Joey, trying to gain a little bit of distance. But Fnatic, you were the hero before.
He's trying.
And you're fallen now. Without him, what can you do but hope that Sniper can end the game? As an Infernal Soul will be picked up by Immortals Progressive Academy.
And that is a big, big read from Joey and the rest of IMTA to recognize that, okay, we got to make sure we have all our vision set up nice and cleanly. Oh, yeah, they got to go.
They got the Coward Shout on to Darkwings, but that's a lot of damage that can come out of Darkwings now. 4v5. This is desperation, IMT.
Look at Lens, he splits.
For the fight, but Darkwings into the backline. Lens looks for Arrow.
Oh, Arrow's gone, Arrow's gone.
The raid boss. Now on IMT, they are back on the back foot, but they still got the advantage, or do they? Sniper has taken down Joey. Chad is in the back line. He stole Lissandra's soul, but can't get any more.
This is big. 100 next again. They're buying time. Even with the Infernal Soul, you see what they're able to do, Magical. And they're at this point now, this composition where they were struggling in that early game because they needed Lens online. He is almost there. And the way they're able to isolate, that was a less than opportune fight. Magical, I think 100 Thieves, they're starting to do it here.
They're getting back. They're getting gold. It is looking like they could claw their way back into this game, but they still are behind. An Infernal Soul, they're still behind 7,000, almost 8,000 gold. Behind Immortals Progressive. It only will take 1 fight alone for IMT to win this series.
Magical, Lens has the Infinity Edge. He's built it. Yes, he's 5k down on Arrow, but this is a big spike for the Aphelios. We see one more fight. Fnatic, Amateur, your team is one of which Amateur's hopes are sitting on. You and AoE Ginger Turmeric, we need another kick like that we saw a few minutes ago. Because now, with Lens in this position, if you set him up, 100 next could make it happen.
As now, this is a nail biter. 100 Thieves next are looking to see if they can posture around Baron. All 5 have grouped up for the team. Immortals, they sent Pretty down to the bot lane to crash the minion wave. It has to be answered by someone on 100 Thieves, but they only have really Darkwings that can answer it. And if they can stop the back like they just did with a Whirling Death, that might help them. But Joey, he at least scares off 100 Thieves, looking for the further fight as IMT just opened up the base. They take down 1 inhibitor turret.
This is going to be like that, and this is brutal. We're a few minutes away from the Elder Dragon, so now the super minions coming through here means this is a big pickup. Not only that, everyone's backing off, and no one has teleport, not even Darkwings, who's on cooldown, means that they have the opportunity. Fnatic,
We've seen this
he's
couple
won a
times.
lot of these 50-50s if he gets the opportunity.
But Vital goes into the back line, looking for Lens, getting back. He still has R. He still got damage. But do they pick up the kill? Lens is alive.
Lens is still
they
good.
Take down 1 and Fnatic.
He still has ult.
Can't go to 1 more. Joey still survives. They got the damage on a Fnatic, but Arrow, the raid boss, he survives it all. Nobody can touch him as Chad will chase down Darkwings. TP's in. All it took was 1 damn fight, and Immortals Progressive Academy will knock out the #1 seed of Amateur.
And there it is, Immortals were struggling towards the early parts of Proving Grounds, but they brought it back. Pretty and Chad and Arrow 2 made it happen, Magical, and now Amateurs' hopes rests on AoE Ginger Turmeric because 100 Next are gone.
Fall 2-1 against Immortals Progressive. This is a team, I told you, they defy logic. They defy everything. You think that they're out, and somehow IMT will find a way to prove you wrong.
And they did it again, Magical, defying everyone's expectations for this series. This was the one where we thought Amateur had it done, but Immortals Progressive, they made it happen in a nice and controlled game 2 and a very explosive and one-sided game 3. Even when 100 Next looked like they were bringing it back, looked like they were just very slowly clawing tooth and nail to make it happen, they were just fell too far behind.
They fell behind Draven, who was absolutely massive. The raid boss of the game, Arrow, proven that there's a reason why he's always been talked about for so long, back in the KT days, even back when, well, not even back, even recently, where he was on Players, got to play a character there. This guy's got a lot of potential, and he's still a great damn ADC. But for now, we're going to toss to a break. When we come back, we'll have an interview with Kangas and the victorious Immortals Progressive Academy. Make sure you stay tuned.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back for our post-series interview with the one and only Immortals Progressive, Joey. Thank you for joining me, and congratulations on the win, first of all.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Big dub.
Game 3, I want to go back to a moment that felt like the momentum was shifting, where 100 Thieves Next were stringing together a couple of plays that were even, if not in favor of them. Take me back to what the nerves were like in that Game 3. Were you nervous at all? Were there any moments where you're like, oh no, it's slipping away, and we're starting to lose it?
After one of my engagements on mid lane, I think, or maybe it wasn't on mid lane, but I just said, guys, like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, what do we do? And then someone just called me down, and then I was like, okay, here's what we do. We just play for the Ari charm. This is how we team fight, and like, we like reset the situation, reset our win conditions in the fight. Where before we were like so far ahead that we didn't think that we need to, which is like really a bad habit, honestly. But after that, we calmed it down, and then it felt like things were getting a little bit better.
Yeah, shout out to Arrow on Draven. 2 games in a row, absolutely popping off. Is that something that you prepped ahead of time coming into like this patch, or is it something that you've always had in your back pocket?
So we played Draven earlier in the season, and like we would never win on it. So we actually have like a list of champions that like we shouldn't play, and then Draven's on it. And then today we're just like, this champ's too strong. Let's just play it. Let's see what happens. Go for the bot gap, because like we're up like 40 CS. I think we had 50 CS, and the affiliates had like 10 in the 3rd game. So I'm pretty happy that we picked it, and it's off the list for sure now.
It was pretty gross. But on the note of a new patch, I'm curious how the team approached prep for this week, because it's a unique circumstance, right? It's very rare that you have a patch change during a tournament. So how did that affect prep and scrims and practice for the team?
I mean, we just looked over the patch as a team and like thought what would be strong. Luckily for us, the patch wasn't actually that big for the most part. The changes weren't really that insane for any role. Nothing got like hard nerfed out of the meta, so the patch didn't feel that different from what we were already doing. Maybe like the Talia nerfs and stuff like that, but really nothing too big. So we weren't really that worried about adapting or anything like that. We were just trying to figure out like the meta, how it was, and just go from there.
Well, hey, it worked out for you. You still got the victory, which means you continue on improving grounds, following the tradition of deep runs for Immortals Academy. What's the reason for this? Are y'all like blessed? Do you have like some kind of lucky socks you wear? Like, what's the secret sauce for Immortals Academy coming in and making these deep runs?
I don't know. I just go to the gym in the morning and play better, I guess. I don't know, get some cardio in. I think that the thing is we're just like clutch players and we don't want to end our season so early. Like, it's like August 16th. I'm not trying to go on vacation, man. People think like vacation's fun, but I hate going on vacation, honestly. So I just want to keep playing until I can't play anymore. And I just give like the most everyday practice and every day in our official matches, and just like I want to get top 4 every split, and just like maybe that's the Immortals legacy. It's just top 4 for Academy.
Hey, that's a great legacy to have. And speaking of, the path you've had to get here is very unique compared to a lot of the other Academy teams. You've only played amateur teams so far. In DK, Taco Gaming, AOE GT actually knocked you down here. They've had a very impressive showing on the upper bracket themselves. Now 100 Thieves next. So with a unique perspective, you've played a lot of newer players, younger players. Who stood out to you? Are there any players that you've gone up against? You're like, wow, like they got it. They're pretty good.
I actually think Wixie was a lot better. Like, remember playing him now versus when he was playing in Academy. I was like, wow, this guy's actually like pretty fucking good, you know. And then I think Sword's been doing really well. He hit like rank 1 in solo queue. He's a good opponent. I liked playing versus him today. I work with him here and there and like try to help him get better and stuff like that. And I think he's improved a lot on the role from like being a lane swap. So I hope to see him in Academy next split. Other than that, those are probably just the two ones that I think like really stood out to me, or players that I like was like, oh, not bad. You know?
Yeah, no, you actually kind of have like a friendship with Sword, right? He's like your protege. Is that what you called him?
Yeah, he's my little protege. I've known him from Twitch Rivals, and I've been like good friends with him ever since he got into the pro scene on TSM Academy when he was a mid laner. And then since he's been like swapping to support, he always asks me like questions about like matchups and lanes. Actually, being Arrow 2v2, Lens and him actually pretty often. So it's a very like we knew each other in the bot lane like pretty well.
So you knew Draven would work from the moment you locked it in.
Yeah.
All right.
We knew their
well,
weakness,
you mentioned the secret to your success might be some of the time that you spend in the gym. I'm happy you brought that up because physicality is very important, I think, for gamers to pay attention to. And I got to point something out here because I have some footage of you boxing from our media day, and we got to go over your form, okay? So
Okay,
first
is it good
off,
or bad?
Joey, when you're punching, your shoulders are. I don't know what's going on with them. First of all, you want to make sure you're not throwing out your shoulder as you punch. You need to keep your shoulder secured. I do like how you're bouncing though. You know, you're staying up and down. But you got to get your hips into it. You know, a punch is mostly body. It's not just your hands. You got to throw your whole body weight behind it. So it's not terrible, but that uppercut. I mean, all right. You know what? Come to the gym with me. We'll talk about it, and we'll get your form sorted out. How about that?
I'm down for that. Hit me up whenever.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, Joey, for coming on. Final question, because I like to end it on a fun note. Who's the best Joey? Joey Wheeler, Joey from Friends, or Joey Harkin, the producer that you just met like 10 minutes ago?
I think it's Joey Houseman, honestly, but like maybe Joey for Friends. I liked watching Friends a lot when I was a kid. I used to watch it with my sister all the time growing up, so probably Joey for Friends. Sorry, Joey, the producer.
All right. Well,
please don't cut me off.
Shout out to the producer. Shout out to the producer, Joey, behind the scenes. Thank you so much, Joey, the player, for coming on and chatting with us. Congratulations on the win, and best of luck going into your prep against CLG.
Thanks. Appreciate it. Bye.
All right, we'll bring back the casters now to close out the show. No love for Joey Wheeler.
I know, I was really sad about that.
Wow!
That is what it
You
is.
just
I can't
activated
believe
my
it.
trap card.
I don't think Joey has a trap card in his whole deck. I'm pretty sure he's just like, Baby Dragon
No,
or Time
he
Wizard
he had Skull Dice. That's a trap card.
He did. You're
Yeah.
right. There was one. That's Kunai with Chain. Wait a minute.
Oh my, dude, that's like this. That's like his classic. What are we doing, Kangas?
All right. Well, regardless, Joey, the player, was not as interested in Joey Wheeler. But again, shout out to the producer and Joey from Friends, an underrated character, probably the best in that show. That's it, though, for the matches today. You can see it below us: 2-0 for CLG over AOE, 2-1 for Immortals Academy, and beatdown.
Yeah. What's how are you?
Address the elephant in the room.
Yeah,
You
magical.
are still what?
There's an elephant?
6 amateur wins over academy teams away from being correct on your adjusted prediction.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
only
not
5.
scared at all. You say,
You're not.
okay, I want to just quickly. Magical, you say, like, we have a difference of 1 win between us, but you're acting like it is, like, the Grand Canyon being,
Yeah,
like,
it's huge.
Hopium this, extra. It's 1 win. What
I
the
know.
hell, man?
I have only 5 more wins to get. You have 6. We're not the same.
That's a difference. That is a difference. That is a.
It's a difference that
I'm
won't
about to
matter
do
because
math on
I
air.
will
20%.
win.
Close. Let's take a look at the upper bracket to see
Yeah, I
how
was
that could
gonna say.
potentially play out here, because it is still possible for both of you, or at least either of you, to be correct.
Somebody.
The lower bracket advances. CLG Academy and Immortals Progressive knock out the remaining amateur teams in the lower bracket, which means only 1 amateur team remains in all of Proving Ground. So congratulations to CLG and Immortals Progressive, but the real meat of it is on that upper bracket. A reminder, that means AoE Ginger Turmeric hold the weight of all of amateur for the rest of Proving Grounds.
Yeah, they do, Magical, and it is a tall ask, especially when you consider the opponent they are going up against now, Cloud9 Academy, I believe seeded 3rd in Academy Summer, so seeded 3rd for the tournament, and a team where I honestly, like, any one of us could argue that they could also be a team that might win it all.
There's a couple teams that are remaining that I think all could be in that finals argument, and it makes it very exciting as a tournament overall. If I have to look at favorites, I think I'm still going TLC9 as the potential matchup in that finals. I feel like based on what we've seen so far, that would make a lot of sense. But again, you never know how things are going to play out. Maybe Cloud9 loses. Tuberg. That would be insane.
Listen, man, I'm supposed to be the Am Copra, all right? Can't just relax. I'm not even saying that.
Right. Fair enough. Fair enough. But that is it for our broadcast today. We will be back with the next half of the lower bracket tomorrow with more games ahead of us. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you to everybody in production for keeping the gears rolling. All the players for putting on the show, and you, yes, you in Twitch chat for rooting for your favorite players. We wouldn't do this if you weren't there to watch it. Magical has something written on his hand, and it kind of ruined my groove. So thank you everybody for coming. We will see you later for more Proving Grounds action. Good night.